So I'm late to my internship while I thought this might be a good idea to film this. But I wanted to do like a day in the life of a social work intern slash how I deal with like alopecia when it comes to working with clients, employers, how I explain it to them. So I'm gonna try to somewhat maybe vlog, I don't know, this day of my internship, but I'm late, like I said, so I'm gonna go for now, and maybe I'll post this, maybe I won't. I don't really know if I'm gonna film anything. We'll see what happens. Hi, so here is me about 2 weeks after you just saw that clip. Clearly I did not end up filming anything else at my internship. Just the nature of social work internships, it's kind of difficult to do that, so I just wasn't able to that day. Like, there's a lot of confidential stuff we do and all that sort of thing. So instead, I'm just going to talk about the day I had, or just in general what a day of a social work intern can look like, and I'm also going to talk about how alopecia plays a role with employers or with clients and how I explain alopecia to them. So first, I just want to give the very simple explanation of how do social workers get their internships. Most of the time, for a Bachelor of Social Work program and their Master of Social Work programs, they have required field placements that you need to complete basically in order to pass. And so usually how it works is you work with the field coordinators at your school, and they help place you in a setting that suits you with the population you want, at a setting you want, and then you interview with where they place you, and then after that, usually you start working there during the semester. Obviously, there's a lot of different things that can happen, such as maybe you interview at multiple places, maybe you don't get a place that lines up with your interests, just on how it ends up. But that is usually how we go about getting our internships. So this year, I've been placed at a support coordination agency, and I can probably do a whole other video about how COVID messed up my internship. I was supposed to have this year as like a full year placement, where I was supposed to be at my agency from September all the way till May when I graduate, but because of many different reasons, I didn't start until December. Whole nother story. But anyway, I love the people I work with. I think it's a great agency. They do a lot of good. So I can't complain that much. So a support coordination agency, they basically deal with adults with intellectual disabilities, and they help coordinate their services so that they can, live fulfilling lives and, not play into the stigma of what having a disability is. They truly try to work with the person so they can build their day how the person wants their day to look. So my role at this internship has been a bit of a combination of macro and micro social work. So macro is more of the behind the scenes administration, data, policy type stuff, whereas micro is when you're working directly with the individuals. So on one hand, I've had to do things like make PowerPoints or flyers or educational things or outreach to other agencies that we can connect with and build relationships with. And on the other hand, I've also had to do things like run activities groups with some of the adults that we work with to help them, have another outlet to connect with people during this pandemic, because that's been something that's really tough for them. So there's really a range of things that I do in my internship, and I think it's kind of illustrates that as social workers, there is such a range of things we can do, which kind of brings me to my next point of we need to debunk the myth that social workers just have the role of going into families, breaking them up, and taking their children out of their homes. A lot of people think that's what we do, but that is not true. We do many things beyond that. You can really find us anywhere. You can find us in a school, you can find us in a hospital, you can find us in a nonprofit, you can find us in literally anywhere. Social workers have so many possibilities of things they can do, which is one of the most overwhelming things as an intern. Is you want so badly to have your internship experiences be things that you love and want to do in the future, so you have that experience when you want to get a job. But sometimes it's so difficult to exactly know what you want to do until you're actually in your internship and you're like, wait, I thought I wanted to do this and now I don't really like it, or I want to do this and I'm not given the opportunity to actually be in this setting based on what your school offers. So it gets a little bit tricky. And I'm sure a lot of social work students, if you're watching this, can relate. So the next thing I'm going to talk about is how I handle having alopecia when it comes to meeting with employers, my interviews with clients, all that kind of stuff. So luckily I've never had anyone in an interview flat out be like, are you sick? I'm sure some of them have thought that, and then they're just happy that I bring it up on my own, because that's usually what happens. I usually somehow am able to bring it up casually on my own. Often it has to do with me talking about these videos. Either it's because they're asking if I have any social media experience to be able to make posts or something for them, or it's something else that I'm able to just tie it in and explain that, yeah, I have this thing called alopecia, and I actually talk about it on the internet a lot. So I do have that experience where I can, do some of your social media stuff for you or something like that. So it never comes up in a sense where they directly ask me, at least not yet. I don't know if that would be totally appropriate if they did. But I have luckily not had that yet. And when it comes with clients, I have also not had that experience where I'm directly asked, like, why don't you have hair? I have a feeling in the future that will happen. And I will go about it the same way as I go about anyone kind of on the street coming up to me, where I simply explain, my hair just doesn't grow. And then we move on. Because it's not something I have to dwell on. They're not there for me to talk about myself. We're there for them. So it's not something I ever want to take up a lot of time. I would just tell them, I'm simply not sick, my hair doesn't grow, and that's about it. Nothing more to it. For me, when I started these internships, it honestly was one of the fears I had in my head, was that people would, or employers, clients would think less of me or be intimidated by me or not want to work with me simply because I just don't have hair and I just look different than them. But I kind of had to get past that. That was like my own personal issue that I kind of had to break through. But I know that other girls with alopecia experience that same thought, whether it's in the social work field or any other field they want to go in. And it's kind of just one of those things where we have to build up the confidence within ourselves and know that our professional abilities are not affected by not having hair. We are just as capable as anyone else. It should not have any type of effect on, whether someone wants to hire us or work with us or any of that. So if you have any other questions relating to, working and having alopecia, any concerns you have, maybe if you have alopecia and you're about to start working somewhere, let me know. I will try my best to answer other questions you have about it. But that is all I have today for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. And as always, be true, be you. I'll see you next time.